July, and it's the day Lana Club in for the centenary year 1984, and we're going to do have some conversations with players who played on local teams here in the area down through the years. And now we have Pa McGourty from Fossa. Pa, what team did you play with?
I played on the Drumavanti team, about the 45s and the 50s.
1945 to 50s. Where was your football pitch at that time?
It was in a field of Fancy Moons on the left-hand side going to Enniskillen, above Pat Ferguson's Forge, on the left-hand side.
Would that be where there's a new house built there now beside Kevin McGee's?
There is. There's a new house built there on that same field.
So it was in that field you played?
Aye.
What colour of jerseys did you play in?
We played in green and white. Green and white jerseys.
And did most of your players come from around the area?
They came mostly from around Tura area.
No, I can't say I do now.
You don't know who was involved in getting the Mulek team off the ground in 1931?
Well, there's Huey, myself, and Huey, my brother of mine and myself. We had done most of the organising, and I was working in Ballyshannon, and he done the getting the buses and the transport of it, and he done the work on the ground, so to speak, and getting the field and keeping the thing going. They came home on every Sunday.
Well, what field did you play in at that time?
We played at the beginning of it in Huey's field. We call it Sprit Park. Someone come talks about it, but then we've gone to play the big matches in Johnny Gormley's field with the green water.
That was on the green, as we would recall. Mulek played there for a long.
Well, they played all the time until they went over taken over. We built them. They didn't long at Belleek. So we played in the green.
And they continued to play on the green up until the late 1960s. Now, tell me, what colour of jerseys did you play in at that time?
We played in red jerseys.
Was there any particular reason for choosing red?
No, there's Pat McGrath was the man suggested we had blue first. Just one set of blue jerseys, and he was looking through the catalogue. He says, "There's the colour you should wear them red." He said, "They'll be afraid of us." So we laughed at the idea, but there was red got, and we played ever than that after. In all games, all we played was all in the red jerseys.
What would you have any outstanding memories of any particular games or any particular events that took place at that time?
Oh, I couldn't see any games. We played 7-a-sides and travelled to different places, but I couldn't say there's any particular games. I remember a good 7-a-side we played in Ballyshannon in 36. And didn't play any in Cashellard. Played at home. That's all the games I can think of.
7-a-sides would have been very popular at that time.
We played in every area all around. That was a source of getting income for to travel. It was very hard to keep a team going, you know. There was no money like now. Very hard to get what kept you on the field or kept you on the road for playing.
How did you raise the money at that time?
We had a local dance at night. It was Sunday night, and what we lifted at the gates and charged so much on the bus going to the matches away, and what we lifted at on the gates at our own matches, that paid it. There were no great expenses attached to it. The buses were cheap.
Where did you run the dances at that time?
There was a wee hall beside home there. We run it in that. It's only a small hall. It's there yet, but it's not in use now.
Well, I imagine they were all Caelies you had at that time.
Well, most of them would have been Caelies. Caelies and old-time waltzers.
Well, did the football club take part in any other cultural activities at that time?
No, the football was all that they took part in. It's trouble enough to get them out to play without getting them out for anything else.
Did they train much at that time?
Very little. A lot of them just saw you in the match and saw you in the next match, and that was all. They were took out to play and had no practice whatever.
Well, would you see much difference between the football then and now?
Well, there's a wide difference in the football now. The players that time, unless they're extraordinary men, then would be fit to stand it. The ordinary men wouldn't stand the football that's playing now. If you hadn't practice, you wouldn't stand there for football or 70 minutes.
The footballers then wouldn't be able to last the pace nowadays.
Too much for them. They wouldn't stand it. They're too harder going.
Well, did you think there was harder football then, physically?
It was harder physically. You were more. It wasn't as fast really as what it is now. But when you're up against a man, if you weren't as good as he was, well, you had it. Just you were knocked out.
Who would have been the outstanding player on your team at that time?
Well, there was about 9 or 10 of them was of a good standard, but the rest of them was weak. That was the way we put it, and that was why our team was never fit to reach the top. Well, not usually to reach the top.
You would say that was couldn't reach the top because you had just 9 or 10 good players.
Yeah, 10 good players, and you wanted the whole 13. 14 was that time.
I believe you had a great kick out yourself.
Well, it's fairly good. I could kick a 70 to 80 yards.
Would you see many players doing that nowadays?
Often look to see you get nod back, but only a nod back can do it. Some of the kicks fall short at 40, 50 at the most.
Do you? Who would have been the best player you have seen in Fermanagh down through the years?
In my time, McCullough was an Armagh player. He's mentioned lately there with Armagh fellas. He was an electrician. He worked in the Skilling for a while. He played some of them years. I couldn't say which year, but he was a good player. A good kick too, and played a full back for them. And he cleared the lanes for them every time. In the Skilling won the senior championship that year, I think.
Did you ever play for the county team yourself?
I played on a few occasions for it. It was awkward for to get transport to Loss where I was living.
I imagine transport was a big problem at that time.
It was, you see, it was easier getting men from the upper end of the county because they were... See, we were the only team down in this end of the county that was any use. And there was no men to come from any other team, and there was no use in a bus or a car for one. Because one person was going to cost the whole cost of a car, and that was... The county board couldn't afford to pay it. So that was one of the reasons why they were short of men.
Do you still follow football?
Well, it's not much played where we are, and very poorly they get on about it, they fall out, and I don't know what goes wrong with them, but I was in it for a while after I ended up there, but...
Sorry, glad to see you.
Thank you. But they're not doing so well now.
That was Jim Flanagan.
That's Jim, I know.
So, do you go to county matches occasionally?
I do go to the county matches. I didn't go the last while, but I fairly went to use them all there the last couple of years. Clones and all around the north, Belfast. I go to them all.
Well, thanks very much, Thomas, and all the best.